In this video, I look at yet another Quest 3 head strap and facial interface, this time from Globular Cluster, with the head strap claiming to be a hybrid of the Elite and Halo style. But is it any good for sim racing or other VR activities? Let's find out now from an older gamer's perspective. Before I begin this review, a quick disclaimer.
Already?
Globular Cluster sent me this head strap and facial interface free of charge in order for me to review them. However, they have no say in the content of this review and will not see it before you do. That being said, on with the review. Avid watchers of this channel will no doubt remember that I've been through a few headsets in a desperate search to replace the abysmal stock head strap that came with the Quest 3, and also something better than the not too bad, but also not particularly brilliant stock facial interface that also comes with the Quest 3 as standard. So, can Globular Cluster improve on the abysmal head strap and the not too bad but still pretty poor facial interface? Globular Cluster F3 facial interface. So the easy one of this bundle first, the facial interface from Globular Cluster. It's the easiest test for me because I really don't enjoy using the Meta facial interface, but so far I've failed to find anything better. Bear in mind that I have tried a number of different facial interfaces. A review of the AMVR one is linked below, but spoiler, I didn't like it and I sent it back, resorting to using the stock version again from Meta. Although I loathe the material so much, and I have resorted to placing a rubber grommet thingy over the horrible textured surface so I can avoid being left with a Lone Ranger tattoo after each play session. The F3 from Globular Cluster retails at around €45. That's about €10 more expensive than the AMVR, which is quite steep when you consider probably nobody's ever heard of Globular Cluster. But the F3 does come with 3 types of materials instead of the 2 as supplied with the AMVR. And more importantly, it features a magnetic mounting system, which enables the different material types to be easily swapped out without as much fuss as you find with the Velcro version in the AMVR. There are also 2 spacers included for people who wear glasses, also magnetic. By the way, if you do wear glasses and want to avoid using the spacer system from any facial interface, I did review some really nice optical inserts from VR Rock, which I use all the time and can highly recommend. I will place a link to that video below. There is also a referral code in the description giving you some money off if you decide to purchase with VR Rock. As I said earlier, the F3 uses a magnetic system which is used to either fit the facial interface or the spacers to the Quest. It is in itself fairly easy to fit, albeit if you have large fingers like me, a little on the fiddly side. However, once fitted, it can stay there as you now have the ability to swap between any of the 3 types of materials or the spacers using the magnetic system. And in practice, actually swapping out each mask does turn out to be a simple and easy process, and it works a treat. With AMVR, a Velcro system is used to swap out the materials, which honestly can be a bit of a faff. The F3, by contrast, by using the magnets to snap from one material to another, is completely faff-free. This system is so easy, it's actually one that I regularly use to swap between materials as I move through different VR activities. And I really do that. When I want to change between comfort and something easier to clean, I just snap off the facial interface I didn't need for that activity and place the more appropriate one into the magnetic slots in a very uncomplicated and jiffy manner.
So idiotically uncomplicated.
Of the 3 materials included, I found the breathable mesh, similar to AMVR's silk cotton material, to be the ideal material for sim racing. It was both comfortable, cooling, and could be worn for extended durations without causing any sweat to build up or steam appearing inside my mask. And once I took the mask off, there was very little mark on my face. Honestly, I think this material is the only one I would consider using while sim racing, as it makes the whole experience so much better. When using my Quest 3 for VR activities, where I'm moving about a lot more than sim racing, I found the so-called PU material, a sort of fake leather of some kind, to grip my face more securely during rapid movement, and to be much easier to clean once I emerged from a sweat-soaked VR fitness session. The third material, the grey fabric, is a little bit more of an oddity. I didn't find it uncomfortable per se, but it wasn't as comfortable to use for sim racing as the breathable mesh, and it didn't have the advantage of being easy to clean like the PU material. So the question is, what would I actually use it for? I think the answer is as a facial interface for guests only, which is kind of cool, as it solves some of the basic hygiene issues. And again, the magnetic mounting system practically encourages you to swap the materials out. It really does. So what about comfort? The main problem I had with the AMVR was that it didn't fit my face, and I found myself grimacing just to keep the mask in place. So does the F3 from Globular Cluster do any better? I tested in sim racing for some very prolonged sessions in some sticky hot weather and found it to be very comfortable indeed. It fits my face nicely, and the low profile magnetic base means that I did get a slight bump in field of view as compared to the stock Meta facial interface. But this was a very small bump, and if you need these spacers for glasses, this slight improvement will be negated. Initially, when I first put it on, I detected some screen glare, which seemed to be coming from the overly wide nose guard that comes pre-fitted to each of the three materials. However, as time wore on, this either stopped being a problem or the nose cone adapted to my nose. I'm not sure which, to be honest with you. I can only tell you that after about an hour of wearing it, it gradually went away, and now there's nothing there at all, nothing that I can detect, even when the sun is shining directly on my VR play area. If I do see any screen glare, it appears only when I'm viewing a dark loading screen. In play with pretty much every title I tried, including iRacing and Pistol Whip and mixed reality titles like Les Mills Combat, the light leak was rarely visible. The nose fitment remains fairly wide, though, wider than I would think necessary, and I have a very big nose. That being said, I am also an avid nose gap peeper and often use this gap to view my PC keyboard when I need it or check the time on my wristwatch. So I'm not overly against the nose gap, but if you are, be aware the F3 from Globular Cluster likes your nose to be a little on the big side.
Listen, I'm only telling the truth. You have got a very big nose.
The facial interface also claims to have some airflow via vents on the top. These are very small indeed, and I'm not sure they allow any significant airflow through at all. When placed against a light source, you can see how small these holes actually are. They're tiny. And as such, this feature is not really something you should factor in when deciding to buy this particular facial interface. Maybe they could be made wider with a pin or something, I don't know, but I didn't mess around with it. So for me, it's there, it's a feature that's listed, but it's not particularly practical. That aside, F3 from Globular Cluster is a comfortable facial interface, and the ease of which I can swap between different materials is a real winner for me. As it stands, notwithstanding the light leaks and the very small air holes, I think this is going to be my facial interface of choice from now on, and it easily outmatches the woeful stock facial interface from Meta.
I'm winning!
The Globular Cluster CMQ3 head strap. So much for the facial interface. What about the head strap, which in this case is the CMQ3 from Globular Cluster, a company that clearly isn't into super trendy product names. But I prefer a product that functions correctly to one with a cool name. However, this CMQ3 is going to have to work very hard to displace the Bobo M3 Pro from my heart, as I really do love using this headset for sim racing and other VR stuff, and I reviewed it here in this video, which I will link below. The CMQ3 retails at around €60, which is about €5 short of my beloved Bobo M3 Pro. However, the M3 Pro price does include a 5200 milliamp hour battery. With the CMQ3, you are required to source your own battery from a third-party company. The suggestion is the Anker Nano Power Bank, which is a 5000 milliamp battery for an additional €25, although when I bought it, the cost was only $19.99. Either way, if you need a battery for your head strap, and let's face it, with the Quest 3, you do need one, then the base price of the CMQ3 with a battery is now €85, €20 more than the Bobo M3 Pro that includes a battery. So, more expensive and a brand you probably have never heard of. But that to one side, what's it actually like to use? Similar to the F3 facial interface, the CMQ3 head strap comes with 3 types of forehead padding and 2 types of center strap. Yes, there is a center strap on a halo design head strap. I'll come to that later. And there are 2 types of back head support, 3 if you include the rubber cover that can be fitted to either one. You are not short of choices with this headset, but unlike the facial interface, the forehead padding and the rear head support are both attached via Velcro. Pretty easy to change, but still a bit of faffing is required. Of the choices available, I found again the softer breathable mesh material to be the one best suited for sim racing, and also in the hot weather it was the most comfortable option, but I'm sure it will be the same in the cold weather. It doesn't provide enough grip though for when I do VR fitness, and so I changed the forehead cushion to the PU material, which offers a lot more grip and again is easy to clean. For the forehead rest only, there is also a third option, which is the grey material, and as I mentioned earlier, this is okay but not really anything special, and so again I will probably keep this for guest users of my Quest 3, but that would be for purely hygienic reasons. The back pad has only 2 options and a rubber thing that can go over either. Initially I went with the honeycomb version as I wanted a little more grip for my silky smooth and luxuriously thick hair that is for some reason still present on this older gamer. However, I did feel after trying it that the honeycomb grip was a bit too grippy and changed it out to the grey fabric, which gives the right amount of grip without tugging my hair out at the root. Would have been nice though to have the breathable mesh option as the rear rest, but that's not there. The rubber grommet thing I didn't like at all. As I mentioned earlier, this halo design features a center head strap, which Globular Cluster are calling a hybrid of both Halo and Elite. So a Halite or Halo? I don't know. Either way, I did find that I like the center strap more than the padded horns found on the Bobo M3 Pro. It's probably going to be a personal preference thing here, but for me, in long sim racing sessions, the padded center strap was just a little bit more comfortable. Although in VR fitness, I didn't notice much of a difference at all between the CMQ3 and the M3 Pro. The center strap I haven't changed, and I've left it at the padded PU material, mostly because it's a major faff to change, and I can't see many people bothering with that. And the only other option is a strap made from a fabric material, which I don't think would offer a lot of comfort, although I didn't try it. In use, the CMQ3 worked great for sim racing, just as good as the M3 Pro, and was also very usable for VR fitness, or indeed a prolonged session in my latest addiction, Skyrim VR, with plenty of mods. Yes, I am feeling a little retro at the moment.
Wow, that's really retro.
There isn't a major difference between the CMQ3 and the M3 Pro, comfort-wise, endurance, or when it comes to cleaning the headset. They are both equally good, and really the only major difference between the two, apart from the price and apart from the CMQ3 being a so-called hybrid headset, is the battery at the back. On the M3 Pro, it's a pretty natty magnetic mount, which can be easily swapped out. If you have a second battery, this gives you pretty much unlimited playing time. And it zaps itself onto the head strap with ease, and because of the magnets, you can easily swap them out without even looking, meaning you wouldn't have to remove the Quest to do so. The CMQ3, however, has this battery slot thing at the back. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen designed for the Quest, and it has about it the faint air of being 3D printed. However, it is an exact fit for the Anker battery, which slots snugly in and shows no sign of falling out. As a bonus, you can also use the Anker battery to charge your phone, so you could take it with you as a mobile power bank. Whether or not that's enough to sway you on the purchase, I don't know, but it's something worth mentioning. One of the things I really prefer with the CMQ3 system, as opposed to the M3 Pro, is the cable that connects the battery to the headset is detachable. I like this concept, as on the M3 Pro, the cable is not detachable, and when in use, when I'm tethered to my PC by its own cable, it flails around a little, sometimes getting lost in mid-race and tapping me on the side of the face in the most disconcerting manner. The CMQ3 has the ability to totally remove the cable and is easy enough to put back on when you need it. And so for me, this is a win, and possibly the biggest, if not the only real major difference between the M3 Pro and the CMQ3, as comfort-wise, they are pretty much equal. So if you are looking at both, it's a question of what type of battery you prefer, or if the cable-free CMQ3 is something you might want in your life. Other than that, it's down to price.
Oh, come now. Everyone has his price.
Conclusions. This is a review of two halves for me. The facial interface I totally loved, and unless something much better comes along, I will be sticking with the F3 facial interface from Globular Cluster. I think it's fantastic. The ease of changing from one material to another via the magnetic mounting system, plus the option of adding spacers for any glasses wearing guest users of my Quest 3, is an absolute winner for me. It comes with enough material choices to match most people's needs, and I think the only thing that stands out against it is the larger than necessary nose guard, and the fact that I initially suffered from some light leak issues. Although those issues did eventually go away, it is something worth mentioning. Price-wise, it kind of matches up with competition, with the AMVR facial interface having a retail price of $39.99 and the F3 at $43. Although, as you can see here, the AMVR does often have a sale price which reduces the price significantly. That doesn't matter so much to me because the AMVR was far too narrow for my face and just didn't work for me. So the extra money demanded by the F3 is worth it for me. And the F3 offers a greater choice of materials and a much easier method of swapping between those materials via these magnetic mounts, which are just very clever and very cool. One thing to note with the F3 is the company offers two versions, one for the Halo style straps and one for Elite style straps, which apparently is a bit thicker. My review here has been on the Halo style variation. So it's a big thumbs up for me for the F3 facial interface from Globular Cluster, and moving forward it will be my daily drive. But what about the CMQ3 from Globular Cluster? This is a tougher sell, both feature-wise and price-wise, mostly because the price of the CMQ3 is comparatively high up against the M3 Pro, and when the Anker battery pack is added to the price of the CMQ3, the total becomes dangerously close to the premium Bobo head strap, the S3 Pro. And the S3 Pro offers a lot of features for that price. As it stands, the one feature of the CMQ3 that I do love is the detachable battery lead, which allows me to take it off when I'm tethered to the PC. But I probably wouldn't have bought the CMQ3 just for this reason alone. On the question of features and prices, the CMQ3 from Globular Cluster is an attractive buy for anyone still using the stock strap that comes with the Quest 3. But if you already own a third-party headset and are happy with the features it offers, there is very little new or interesting on offer from Globular Cluster with the CMQ3 at this price point. If it were about 25% cheaper, I think it would be a more interesting proposition. But as it stands, I think most people with this sort of money to burn on a replacement head strap will probably go for the feature-rich Bobo S3 Pro, with the convenience of a magnetically mounted battery and the fact that the battery is also included in the price. If you need additional advice on head straps or facial interfaces, please comment below, or if you have any further tips, also comment below. And if you need help ASAP, then I would suggest joining the Older Gamers Perspective Discord channel, which I will link below, and ask your questions there. Join us, we are a friendly bunch and we love chatting about VR and sim racing. In the meantime, I hope you found this video helpful, and until the next one, race clean, and I'll see you on track.
We can't fix the damage. I'm afraid it's over.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe. Click the little bell icon if you want to be notified of any future videos.